Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome back to another one of my videos. I am Blitz, and today I'm going to be talking about the CAERNARVON Action 10. Now, this tank has just come into the stores today. Unfortunately, it is in crates, but as always, I'm going to be telling you guys about the tank, how to run it, where to run it, everything else like that, the armor profile, and of course, at the end of this video, I'm going to be talking about crates and whether or not you should be gambling some of your money to try to pick up this tank. When getting into the statistics of the CAERNARVON, the first thing you'll probably notice is that the tank has 2,700 damage per minute, which is pretty much unheard of for a tier 8 heavy tank. So the fact that this tank has it is completely ridiculous. It can just keep pumping out shell after shell after shell. It's only a 4.2 second reload, which gives it 14 rounds a minute, which is just a ridiculous rate of fire. And not to mention, the penetration is not bad at all, 226 millimeters. And if that's not nearly enough for you, you can load the premium and you'll have 258. So penetration on this tank is not an issue. You're easily going to have enough to penetrate really any opponents you do come up against. And as well, the aiming time on this tank is excellent, 1.72 seconds. And when you combine that with a 0.290 dispersion, this tank really does not miss ever. Even the dispersion factors while moving are only 0.12, which makes this one of the most accurate tier 8 vehicles in the entire game. Not to mention, the tank has 10 degrees of gun depression, which now makes it very flexible on really any terrain it gets stuck on, and as well has 20 degrees of gun elevation. The turret traverse speed is very quick at 43 degrees a second, which makes it pretty much impossible to flank this vehicle. I've had medium tanks come up behind me while I'm not looking at them, easily turn my tank around as soon as I get notified by them, and I can snap them, and they can't flank you because it's so quick on the speed. Because the tank, even though it weighs 65 tons, can still turn at 36.45 degrees a second. And as well, the tank has a 36 kilometer per hour top speed forward. Now, the only bad thing about this tank, and this is literally it, the only thing is the backing up speed. It's only 12 kilometers per hour, and that really can get you in some bad situations sometimes, because what I'll tend to notice myself doing, at least, is this tank's so good in every other characteristics, I'll have it pushing up really aggressive against medium tanks, or I'm not really looking at the enemy team until, oh no, they've got 3 or 2 tanks right in front of me, or there's tanks shooting across the map at you. And when you're stuck out in the open and you can only go 12 backwards, it really can get you because 12 is so slow. But again, the tank goes 36, and because it weighs such a large amount, you can really ram medium tanks, light tanks, taking 200, 400 hit points off them easy, with barely even taking 100 in return. So overall, you can see that the statistics on this tank are pretty much excellent. There is nothing bad really overall on the tank, and that is just what makes it such a formidable opponent on the battlefield. And then we move on to the armor profile, and you'd probably be thinking, well, because this tank's statistics are so good, the armor must be a little bit on the worse side, but in fact, it's excellent. The upper plate on this tank, you can see, is about 250 millimeters thick, which is pretty much impenetrable to every tier 7 you're going to come up against, and unless your tier 8s are firing premium ammo at it, they're going to struggle immensely to penetrate the tank's upper plate. Now, it does have a weak lower plate, obviously, but that's how most heavy tanks are. But again, the tank is 10 degrees of gun depression, so lower plate, no problem. Hide it behind a hill or something like that. And your upper plate armor becomes like 350 thick, as you can see, which is pretty much impenetrable by anything that's going to come up against you. As well, you can see the turret is completely red, very thick, even on right next to the front where the cheeks are. It's still about 260 millimeters thick. And as well has these little side panels on the edge, which make it impenetrable pretty much everywhere on the side. 600, 700 millimeters trying to shoot through the front of it. And even when you'd think, oh, maybe I can shoot flush through the side of them, but you can't. It's still like 300, 400 millimeters on the side of the turret if you're shooting at those panels, which you can start to see why this tank is so hard to take out on the battlefield if you do come up against it. Now, it does have a cupola on the top of it, but it looks a lot bigger on Armor Inspector than it really is to shoot at. It's at the back of the tank's turret, as you can see, and it's just really tough to take out. Now, unlike the normal Carnarvon, this tank actually has buff side armor, so you can see it's much thicker on the sides than the normal one. It's 90 millimeters thick on this one side. The normal Carnarvon's only about 50 millimeters thick on the side. But because of that being 90 millimeters thick, you can really get some nice side scraping angles up. You can see very tough to penetrate. As well, it's got these nice thick tracks, which makes it very hard to penetrate the tank through the track wheel, unlike the normal Carnarvon. You can pretty much see this tank is excellent in the armor as well as the gun handling, and there's really nothing bad I can say about the tank. Well, I take that back. There is one bad thing I can say about the vehicle. However, it's not really about the tank, it's about what Wargaming did as a decision. I like the vehicle, I think it's excellent on the battlefield, and I'm going to continue to say that after I get through this little part. But the only thing that Wargaming did that really kind of bugged me was that, as you guys know, I normally have my opinion that premium tanks should just be a different type of tank to pick up on the battlefield to play as a credit earner. And what Wargaming did with the Carnarvon Action 10 is they literally got a Carnarvon and they made every single statistic better. They made the armor better, they made the damage per minute better, they made the aiming time better, and I don't know why they did that. That's the only thing that really annoys me, because now it kind of makes the normal Carnarvon useless. Why would I pull out that tank when I can pull out the Carnarvon Action 10? So this isn't really like a thing bad about the vehicle. I just don't know why Wargaming had to make it better than the Carnarvon, but yet give it such similar characteristics that they're very similar to play, and you'd always pick this tank over the normal one. But with that aside, I really love this tank. It's excellent to play in the battlefield, it looks great, it does everything I wished it would, and I've been waiting for this tank for quite some time. So I am very happy in the state Wargaming released it. And on the question of, is it overpowered? I feel it is a little overpowered, because I have managed to pull out more 4,000 and 5,000 damage games in this tank than I really have done in any other vehicle at tier 8 in a while. And that's just because the tank's got such good armor, it's got such good gun depression, and the tank's got such a good gun that it's able to keep pumping out the damage, and it just starts racking up and up and up. However, you have to remember that this tank is not going to play as well for some players as it does for others. This is not like a smasher where it's just plain overpowered. You have to know how to run it. You have to know where to push it, where the gun depression spots are to maximize your armor, because while the armor is really thick, on flat ground, most vehicles are easily going to be able to shoot through your lower plate. So you have to know where you're going to put the tank, when to pull out on enemy vehicles, everything like that. And because of that, it's definitely an overpowered tank, but only in the right scenarios. Don't just get honeycoated by the games you're seeing me play and think that you can just pull out these games easy every single battle. These games take me 10, 15, maybe 20 battles to get for you guys, so you do have to keep that in mind. Now on to the final topic of whether this tank is worth the price or not. The main issue is that it's in crates, so I can't really say a specified price tag that this tank would cost, but I know you can get it guaranteed for $100, and I'm glad Wargaming did finally bring back the charms for the crates. I had suggested that idea a while back in one of my videos, that instead of just buying crates non-stop and you could spend $5,000 and not get the tank because of the 5% drop chance, the way Wargaming did it is that there's charms, and if you don't get the tank in $100, you can get it guaranteed. And that's why I like this sort of crate buying better, because at least you know after a certain price, if you're willing to go that far, or you're a collector like me and you'd like to make videos on these tanks, that you can get it guaranteed, and you're not just going to keep dropping money in to a point where if you don't drop money in, you're going to be disappointed that you don't have the tank, and that if you do drop so much money in and you don't get it, you're really angry with yourself that you spent so much money and you still don't have the tank. So I'm really happy Wargaming did this idea. The last time they did it, I think, was with the Scorpion. So I'm happy that they did that. But whether or not it is worth the price tag, I'd say if the tank was $50, it would be worth it, hands down, because it's just an excellent tank. It looks great. It does everything I would want a premium tank to do, especially if I was trying to grind credits. However, it's not $50. To get it guaranteed, it's $100. So if you're a tank collector or you're just a player that wants to spend money to pick up this tank, you're not going to be disappointed. It can do everything you want a premium to do and then some. However, if you're a player that just wants to pick up a premium vehicle, to have a few laughs with friends, to earn credits, stuff like that, don't spend money on this tank. $100 to get it guaranteed isn't worth the price tag. There's going to be new premium tanks that hit the store for cheaper. There was the T-4400, IS-2SH. There were so many tanks that just hit the store a week ago, and the Mark I Defender, I think, is still in the store, which is an excellent vehicle. Sadly, I didn't get a video out on it, but I do like that tank, and it actually plays pretty similar to this one. So if you were thinking about buying a tank for $50, you might as well look at like the Mark I Defender, other than trying to gamble your money on a tank that you might not get guaranteed, unless you're dropping, $100. But other than that, I hope you did enjoy this video. As always, make sure to smash that like button if you did. As well, hit that subscribe button. We've been growing a crazy amount lately. I want to thank all of you guys for the support you've given this channel, and I hope you do continue to give more. If you want to check out my Patreon, help me out in the, with my videos so I can afford to spend money on these tanks. Make sure to let me know in the comments down below, because sadly Wargaming still hasn't contacted me back about a contributor account. But other than that, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure to smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.